So, dear Sophie, my first question would be, why did you choose marketing as your research area? Could you please briefly introduce the research concentration of marketing, and why do you think it's the most interesting theory in marketing? Thank you.
That's really great questions. Why I choose marketing as my research area? The honest answer is I did not have that many choices. It depends on educational background, right? So I did my master both in marketing. So when I decided to pursue my PhD, this is the only major or area I could choose. So, but I do love to study consumers' behavior, the marketing research, especially on consumer behavior in particular. So if you ask my research area, I would say that my broader research interests focus on, I'm going to study consumers' behavior from a psychological perspective. So said differently, okay? In other words, I study consumers' current action and try to understand what's the reasons, what's the motive behind this action. So let me use one. So for example, assume that you're going to eat a buffet. Okay, you go to a restaurant, you eat a buffet. So people tend to grab more food, sometimes more than you need it, if you wait a little bit longer in the queue, right? So this is a phenomenon, right? If you wait longer, you tend to grab more food. So the reason behind this phenomenon could be people view the different resources can be exchanged. So temporary resource, the time is kind of resource we have, and food, money will be other resources we have. So if you feel that you spend temporary resource, which is time, in waiting, you expect you need to get something as a return, which is the food. So this is what I'm doing right now. So to look at consumers' behavior and try to understand what's the psychological motivations behind those phenomena. Okay, so the second part of the question is like you asked me like most interesting, right? So if I remember.
Could you please briefly introduce the research concentration of marketing?
The research concentration. So to me, I mainly study like, so my research can be divided into three broad areas. The first one, how consumers' behavior can influence by psychological resources. So we have different resources. Another, I'm studying like how consumers' behavior influenced by social interaction. So all social interaction, social influence, where you're with the friends, your social relationship with others, the presence of others, how they're going to influence your consumption decision. And I do have a small area of my research. I look at some socioeconomic factors, such as residential mobility. So how frequently you change your residence, how frequently you move to a different apartment or different places could influence your understanding about yourself, right? So my prediction is that when you move more frequently in the past, you actually have a better understanding of who you are and what you really like. Then for this kind of people, you are more likely to pursue something. You are intrinsically motivated. So you're less influenced by some money incentive, but you are more likely to do something you truly love to do. So this is like three area of my research concentration, if you mean that.
Okay, the third question would be, what do you think is the most important or interesting theory in marketing?
Most interesting theory. Because as I said, I'm studying like consumers' behavior from psychological resources. So if you ask me to pick one right now, I probably would pick the resource exchange theory proposed by 1970 something, 74, 76, I cannot remember the exact year. Forgive me if I remember incorrectly. So the idea behind this resource exchange theory is talk about we have different resources. We have social resources like your friend. We have social status resources like power. You have a power to control resources, to control other people. We also have monetary resources like money, or some objective resource like product or something you own, right? And we also have temporal resource like time. So the basic idea behind this RET, resource exchange theory, is talk about all these resources can be exchangeable. So I remember one of my, I think the research done by my advisor and his colleague. So they found that if people they experience the threat in the social resource domain. So in the situation, if you feel like you have been rejected by your friends, ignored by classmates, you feel this social exclusion or social loneliness, then for those kind of people, socially excluded customer, they will show like more risk-taking behavior in the financial decision making. So if I feel like I don't have enough friends, then I will become more risk-taking in the financial decision, because people believe that social resource and financial resource can achieve a similar benefit. Right? So the money as a substitute for popularity. Either you can become like really popular person or you can be a rich person. Those can be exchanged. So this is the basic theory behind this social like IET. So you can, if you learn about the theory, right? So you know that sometimes if I lack with certain resources, in addition, I get the more resource from the same domain. I can actually get the resource from other domain, which can also satisfy the same benefit for the customer. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your patient answer, and I found that really interesting. Like, personally, I agree with the residential like effect on our
Self-understanding.
careers. Yeah,
Right.
because myself, I just live in 3 cities in my first year. So I think that indeed changed me in some behavioral.
Exactly. So when you actually live or arrive to the new environment, you have this self-discovery, right? So you try to explore the new environment, and those self-discovery tendency will make you have some better idea. So for example, if I live, let's say like Thailand or mainland China or like in some European country, right? So the more information I have been exposed to, then I have more information to think about whether I like this type of cuisine or not. I like the humid hot weather, or I should live in somewhere where it's a little bit cold. So you will have these adoptions about your self-understanding. And more important, because actually you move to the different country or different places, you will meet the most important on this social residential mobility is you're going to meet different people. So sometimes our self-understanding has been developed or updated when we interact with different people. So we try to understand ourselves from the perspective of other people. So those can also contribute to your self-understanding. Yeah. So I think this is also, I got this idea, I generate these ideas based on my own experience. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And our second question is that what type of students do you think is suitable for learning marketing?
There's no one answer. I would say, of course, if you are interested in marketing or at least you're willing to learn, then I think will be the best candidate for learning marketing. But if you really ask me to pick up some characters, I would say open-minded and a quick learner. The quick learner, I mean, you are able to find the useful or needed information very quickly, or you are able to learn the new skill very quickly. This is called a quick learner. So the first one I said is open-minded, right? So I think for my students, they know that I mentioned several times in my class, the marketing, you should be the opportunity seeker. You should not be the routiner. You just do the same things you did in the past. You need to look for the freshness of the new insight or new knowledge. So I think the first one, like open-minded, will be really important. You need to open for the new opportunity, new way to do the things. And the second one I said as quick learner, because we all know that we are facing a rapidly changing market and also technological advance. Right? So every year there are so many technology has been developed and launched. So it doesn't mean that the skill or the software you learn today will be still useful tomorrow. Not only for marketing, for other majors as well. So I think in order to make sure you become like competent or competitive in the job market, then you should be able to learn the new skill very quickly. and you need to be open to learn the new things. Some people, they are really show the reactance to learn the new things. They want to do the things they did in past, but I think in the marketing domain, especially nowadays, it's really important for you to be open to learn new things, and you should be able to learn the new things very quickly. Yeah, I think this is to me, I think this is most important.
Okay.
Of course, proactive, right? So be proactive is also very important in marketing. Yeah.
So could you give some advice that can make students really be more competitive in some ways?
I think you should be more proactive. So as I said, you need to be the quick learner. You need to intentionally to be a quick learner. You need to sometimes, for example, you currently use, let's say, like Excel or Word or different software to analyze things. And if you know that there will be some software available there, you should push yourself to at least get to know of those new technology and meet for different people. Especially for the marketing or in business in general, we interact with people, right? So you should push yourself, talk to more people, which could also help you to generate some idea, improve your competitiveness or improve your efficiency. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. And then maybe we like to talk about in workplace. That could you introduce marketing employment orientation and prospects?
Yes, that's the part I'm not very familiar. So actually, I asked my colleague who are the expert in this area, because they would be like cost coordinator or like marketing coordinator. So I had a very quick chat again. So I think for the student who study in marketing as a major, you can do the different kind of job after graduation. So something like account coordinator or social media coordinator or content creator. So you're going to manage the social account on the social media or deal with like the social or digital marketing. And in addition, the student can also do a job related to the project coordinator or marketing coordinator. So sometimes they have a specific project for the product, then you will be the coordinator for this project or marketing in general. Specifically, the people can also work in the branding domain, so like brand manager. So I think in the branding domain will be mainly responsible for increasing the awareness of your brand or look for a cooperations opportunity with other brands. And also, like, yes, one particular area in marketing called event, right? So we talk about the event can be marketed to people. So there are group of people who work on the event coordinator, event planner. So if you will organize the event, all the stuff, like step by step. So there will be someone working on this. And finally, there will be like more data-driven job, such as marketing analytic or marketing research. So those were the people who, based on the secondary data, or they're going to collect some data and analyze those data to identify some business opportunity, marketing opportunity, consumers' behavior patterns. So those will be like more data-driven job. So for the people who study in marketing, you can do like many different type of job than you expected. Yeah.
Okay, and my final question will be like, what will the future of a career in marketing be like?
Based on my limited, so before I decide to pursue my PhD, actually I work in the different company for a few years, in bank and also in some consulting company. So based on very limited experience, so the marketing job varies greatly based on your skill set, and based on company's requirements. And even for the same position, may vary greatly from company to company. So I can feel like even like for some people, probably they're working on social media community, right? So but other people probably they are running some online advertisement, right? So you're going to design the poster and decide which channel you're going to put your poster and evaluate different possible channels and select which one is most suitable for you. And some people probably will work on like how to expand the customer base. How can you find a new customer? And how can you persuade people to become your customer? And other people probably like working in front of computer, running some statistic, analyze the big data to identify some trend for the company. I think will be really different. It doesn't mean that if you work in a company, if you work in the marketing domain, you need to meet people every day. You need to talk to people, or you need to like really do some social activity. It doesn't mean that. A lot of tasks, a lot of jobs do not require you to go out every day. So don't worry. If you are introverted or extroverted people, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so that's for the final part of academic questions. So as you said, as a marketer, you must be very open-minded and a quick learner.
So teach you one thing, and I will be someone that's totally different Tuesday. Okay, let's continue.
Okay, so what do you consider to be the best part of learning marketing, and and how it changed you in any way?
I think compared with other areas, I'm not saying that other areas are not interesting. They are also very interesting, very important. But I choose to study marketing, particular consumers' behavior. I think the best, the most beautiful part is I can apply all the things I learned from my research in my daily life. So as I said to you, right, so consumer behavior, I study consumer behavior. Consumer is a kind of human being. We are human beings, right? So you can think about Sophie study people's behavior just in the consumption domain. Right? So all the behavior I studied in consumption domain, I can apply to my daily life. So for example, if I spend more resources in one domain, I will get more resources in other domain. Or residential mobility, right? I move to different place, I have better understanding, then what are things I was willing to do? Or if social crowding environment, if you are in a socially crowded environment, then you will shift the attention from the outside to the inside. Then you will become more self-focused and less likely to be persuaded by someone else. So all the informations I generated from my research, I can apply to my daily life. But as Alice mentioned, whether it will make me become a smart person, I'm not sure. So it doesn't mean that I know those marketing phenomenon. I know the reason behind those marketing phenomenon will make me become a perfectly rational customer. Sometimes also relatively irrational in some way. But I would say those rationality or rational irrational is only come from myself. It's less influenced by someone else. So I can let you know that I'm less likely to be persuaded by sales. They are very difficult to sell the product to me. So because every time they try to persuade me or say something, the things actually in my mind is like, you shouldn't use this kind of persuasive language. You shouldn't trigger social comparison. You shouldn't make me feel like I'm old or I'm should be better than others, because this social comparison doesn't work in my case. I don't care, right? So those are the things actually in my mind. I'm not listen to how good this product it is or not, I should buy or not. Actually, I'm kind of judge the strategy they use. So those are things in my mind. And of course, I know that why company or why marketer, they put some product near this checkout line, like chewing gum, candy, gift card. I know why they put those things there. Therefore, I will be less influenced by those strategies. And I know that why the company sometimes they use this hunger marketing. I know about high tea, right? 喜茶. They actually said that it costs you 30 minutes to make a cup of drink. So last time when I went back, I visited one physical store. I sit there, I order and observe. And they actually finish the drink within, let's say, 10 or 15 minutes. And they just put there and wait another 5 or 10 minutes and tell you that your drink is ready. So I can because I'm kind of marketer, right? So I'm sensitive to all those kind of strategy they use. So I will sometimes I've spent more time to understand, to study it. What make me less influenced by the marketing practice of marketing promotion. If you feel that that's called rational, yes, I am. But personally, I'm not that rational person. Sometimes I cannot really suppress my desire for some product. Yeah, as I told you guys, right? So Double 11, right? So I bought a pillow and a web camera. So those would be like really irrational decision I've ever made. Yeah.
So understanding these marketing rules, it helps you somehow be a rational.
Somehow,
Yeah.
right? So less influenced by other people, but yeah, just to some extent, it doesn't mean that Sophie will be perfectly rational customer.
Okay, so be a now that rational consumer will help you to be happy, like in
Sometimes I feel like fun, right? So to think about the strategy they're going to use, sometimes like I know like this is not very effective. So that's fun, like added some value on my shopping, right? So in addition, like I choose or evaluate the product, actually I'm trying to judge the strategy the sales use. Yeah, that's the fun part.
Okay. So let's come to the live part.
Okay.
So-
Live at HKUSD, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I wish we still have, okay.
This is a question from one of your students.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'll help her to ask this question for you. Like, she said, as one of your students in your class, and even though she's not very active in the lecture, but you can remember her name. So how can you remember all the students' name in such a short time and be so welcomed by your student?
I'm not sure if I'm really welcomed by my students. So for the first question, why I can remember students' name? So this is something I generated from my research and applied to the communication with my students. So we know that in the social communication or social interaction, in order to increase or facilitate the social communications, you need to understand who are you talking to. You need to know your audience. And you should identify them as a unique person rather than a student in general. So if I say like Natalia or Alice, you know like I'm talking to you. Compare like I just go like student or someone, right? So same here. I'm not allow you guys to call me professor. I don't care. I don't want to be a professor. I want to be called as Sophie, as a unique person, right? So this is really important. And I think why I'm doing this, because in order to make sure my students are willing or able to receive the things I taught, I need to make them become open to my lecture. They need to be open to communicate with me. Therefore, I should create this kind of good environment, the good social communication environment, right? So of course, to be honest, I try very hard to remember students' names, right? So I have 220 students this semester. So how I'm going to do that? Of course, I do have some tips. Right? So I invite them to submit one photo card. So in that photo card, I invite them to write one sentence about the most interesting or most unique things about themselves. So actually, I printed out all the photo cards, group them by session, by group, because I invite them to sit the same place across the whole semester, right? So actually, I printed out all the photo cards and group them by session and by group. And I highlight something. So if I have some time, especially when I have a lunch, dinner in my office, I just read those photo cards instead of watch some YouTube video. So
hardworking.
so it's help a lot, because right now we wear the mask, right? It's a little bit difficult to link the name to the face. Therefore, those one sentence self-descriptions will help me to link who is whom. So I think this helped me a lot. Actually helped me to remember more and more students' name. And also another tips I use, I invite them to customize their name tag. So some people put some heart, like Snoopy or different characters. This also helped me to remember who is whom. So I use different strategies. Science, like also invite my student to customize their name tag to help me to remember who is whom. I think I would say like my students are super good. They're super nice. They're super supportive. I'm not sure that this will be the reasons they like me, but actually I benefit a lot because in every lecture, many lecture, actually I show them some interesting ad to just warm up. And after that, actually many students send me the interesting video. And they just send me the email say, Sophie, I just saw this video. It's really interesting, really fun. I think you may like it. So I got lots of support from my students as well. Yeah. So I super enjoy the class I have with them.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think this will really help the students to feel unique and more encourage them to maybe more
Exactly,
active
right? So
and
if
more-
I just say, this student, he or she, right? So you may feel like, I'm just nothing special, right? But if I can call you by your name, then it's like one-by-one interaction, right? So if you just call me professor, I would say, like, I'm just one professor. But if you call me Sophie, then I know, like, they know who I am,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, this is the same theory. So this is something I learned from like social interaction theory. Then I apply this to the interaction with my students. This is a beauty part of doing research.
Thank you very much. And maybe we can come to the next question.
Yeah.
I think many students are wondering, what do you do in your spare time?
Oh.
And maybe you can share some of your hobbies with us.
Sure. So I do my spare time. I usually stay alone. I'm a kind of introverted person, believe or not. Okay, I'm Natalie. You're joking. Like personally, I identify myself as kind of introverted person, believe or not. I would say like I don't have really good. I'm not good at like separating my job and my life. So probably some of you know that I sometimes even reply the emails at midnight at 1 a.m. or 2 a.m. But if I have some time, I rather like prefer stay alone, watch a movie, listen to the music, and sometimes just reading a book. And I got a really beautiful sea view at my home, like I'm living in Taipei, so beautiful, the full sea view. So I sometimes just sit there and watch the boat on the sea. So just relax. And I do some exercise swimming, but because I'm teaching this semester, I don't want to be caught when I'm swimming in a swimming pool. So sometimes I went to the TKO. You know that feeling, right? So, and if the most unique hobby I have is I'm kind of worshiper of artists. I'm kind of crazy fan for the artists I like. And I like many artists. I won't let you know who. And I will buy, if they going to open some like concert, I'm going to buy many tickets. And I'm going to buy the first line ticket.
I'm a rich fan.
The rich crazy fan, okay. So for example, one of the artists I like, I think he's going to open some concert at the end of this year. So I already got 4 tickets. I'm not going to buy another 2 this week.
6 tickets.
Same one,
So
the same one.
supportive.
Yeah, and one of them will be the first line. The first line, so like handshake sick. yeah. So I think it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. You work really hard, you save money, and you're going to see someone you really want to see. This is the beautiful part. And most important, I think, for keeping this kind of habit, make me feel also relatively young. Like I'm still kind of young people, be crazy for idols, something like that. So this is the really beautiful things, yeah.
It's so lucky for us that we don't have to pay and to meet you.
Oh yeah. But one day, if I become like celebrity, you have discount, okay?
Really? It'll feel pleasure to meet you, right?
No, you always will be free, and I will pay you lunch, dinner, whatever you want. Yeah. As I said, like many people, my previous students, they invite me for the. Right now, it's outside the campus. This Wednesday, like Wednesday dinner, they invite me that at TKO. So they already like step by step within campus and outside campus.
Okay, thank you. I think your hobbies are really interesting. Okay, so do you have any...
I hope my colleague won't watch this video and say like, Sophie, you should pay more attention on your research, okay?
So do you have any suggestions on how to balance study and entertainment for university students?
Oh, I think we are Hong Kong University of stress and tension, right? So I don't know how to suggest my students to actually balance the entertainment and study, because no matter how much I tell you guys, you don't believe it, okay? But I do have some tips. As I told to my student, don't do too much social comparison. It will be really stressful. And you should focus on more on yourself rather than others' performance, because you and your classmates just accidentally put in one session in one major for next few years. And probably you have a totally different path after graduation. Then why bother you and spend too much time and energy and focus on others' performance, right? So, and I think no matter how busy you are, I know like we all HKUST people, right? So we know the life is so stressful, but I would still suggest that you should create some boundary between your study and relaxing. At least find some time to relax a little bit, which can help you to re-energize yourself. And another important thing is, do not always wait to big achievement. Learn how to celebrate the small things, right? So you did good on the quiz, you just figure out how to solve this problem, or you learn something from your friend. Celebrate those small things. So for example, in my case, I'm a researcher. I'm not only celebrate when I publish that paper. Every time when my study design works, I got the data, then I celebrate a little bit, right? So I cannot just wait to celebrate the publication. Otherwise, I only can celebrate one for like after a few years, right? So it's not healthy. So I think you guys also need to celebrate the small things. So personally, I'm not good at the balance the life and job. Therefore, sometimes I feel sorry for my family because I do not have too much time for them. But I really, really appreciate the support from my husband. Yes.
So sweet.
Yes, he's the best man.
Okay, so let's move on to the last question. So as a student, sometimes we may match difficulties in our study life. So do you have the same experience? Have you met
Of course.
have any difficulties in your study or academic or research life? And
Of course.
how did you overcome them?
Okay, of course, right? So I used to be a student, and right now I'm a researcher. You know, talking about researcher in the research world, the failure is not option. You can choose or not. It's guaranteed. It's guaranteed. So of course, the failure or unsuccessful study or publication like papers. So how I'm going to overcome that? I'm still learning how to overcome that. So usually, I said to myself, I need to have the long-term goal. I need to be a researcher. I want to be a good researcher. So after I set up this long-term goal, any short-term failures, I do not take it really seriously. And most important, do not do any self-doubt. Do not question yourself. It's a failure about this particular quiz, particular course. It's not failure of you as a person. So if I see the failure of my one study or one paper, it's just a failure about that paper. It's not failure about Sophie as a person. Then actually I can recover very quickly. And sometimes if something doesn't work out, just try it. Try it again. Ask for help. Ask for other people's advice and look for different way to do it. Right? So I think we should try be more positive. And do not treat the failure as the end of this world. No. It's just a failure for one particular thing. It's not like you're as a person good or not, right? So, and I think your ambitions, your competence cannot make you become the good researcher or good student or good employee unless you have persistence and patience. I think this is also applied for academic, right? So sometimes you did not, like you did not have a good GPA, but it's just one particular course, right? So it doesn't mean that you won't have a better career in the future, yeah. So don't worry too much. It's just small part of life. And so we need to set up long-term focus and don't be myopic and self-doubt. I thought like so many students, they do this, they doubt about themselves. Please do not do that. Do not do that. You are awesome. You're HK student, HKUC students. You are here. For us, we don't need to question ourselves, the ability, right? So don't worry, yeah. Be happy.